Let me tell you about the loneliest feeling in the world. It's not being ignored. It's not being forgotten. It's being surrounded by people who need you while slowly realizing that no one is checking if you're okay. That's the dark side of kindness, the part no one talks about. Because we grow up hearing that kindness is beautiful, that it's noble, that giving to others is what makes you a good person. And it is, until it isn't. Until kindness stops being a choice and becomes an expectation. Until helping others stops feeling fulfilling and starts feeling like drowning. And here's the trap. The world loves kind people, as long as they keep giving, as long as they keep saying yes, as long as they keep putting everyone else first. But the moment you stop, the moment you say, I need to take care of myself now, suddenly you're selfish, cold, difficult. It's a cruel irony. You spend years being there for everyone, showing up when they need you, sacrificing your time, your energy, your peace. And the moment you step back to breathe, people don't ask why. They just walk away. And that's when the bitterness starts creeping in, because you realize something painful. Most people didn't love you. They loved what you did for them. They loved your availability, your willingness to drop everything, your inability to say no. But you, the real you, tired, overwhelmed, barely holding it together, they never saw that person because you never let them. See, kindness has a shadow, and that shadow is resentment. It grows slowly, quietly, in the space between what you give and what you never get back. It grows every time you show up for someone who wouldn't do the same for you. Every time you silence your own needs to meet someone else's. Every time you smile and say, I'm fine, when you're falling apart. And eventually, that resentment changes you. You become bitter. Not because you're a bad person, but because you've given so much of yourself away that there's nothing left. You look in the mirror and don't recognize who's staring back, because the person you were, before you learned to shrink yourself for others, is gone. And here's what hurts the most. When you finally try to reclaim yourself, when you finally start saying no, when you finally put boundaries in place, people call you selfish. The same people who took and never gave back. They don't see growth, they see betrayal. Because to them, your kindness wasn't a gift, it was a service, and now you're refusing to perform. That's the catch-22 of being kind. You try to be there for everyone and you lose yourself. You try to be there for yourself, and you lose everyone else. It's a lose-lose. And navigating that line is one of the hardest things you'll ever do. Because let's be honest, some people don't want your kindness. They want your compliance. They don't want you to care. They want you to be convenient, easy to ask, hard to refuse, always available, never needing anything in return. And when you're a naturally kind person, that's hard to see. Because you assume everyone operates the way you do, that if you're there for them, they'll be there for you, that relationships are built on reciprocity, but they're not always. Sometimes you're just filling a role, and the moment you stop playing that part, you become expendable. And that realization, it breaks something inside you. Because you thought kindness would bring connection, but sometimes all it brings is exhaustion. Psychologists call this pathological altruism. It's when being kind stops being healthy and starts being self-destructive. When you give not because you want to, but because you need to. Because somewhere along the way, you learned that your worth is tied to how much you give. That love is conditional. That if you stop being useful, you'll be abandoned. And that belief runs deep. Maybe it started in childhood. Maybe you had to earn affection by being helpful. Maybe love in your house wasn't freely given. It was something you had to work for. So you learned early, be good, be helpful, don't be a burden. And those lessons stuck. Now as an adult, you can't stop. Even when you're exhausted, even when your body is screaming for rest, even when your mind is begging you to stop, you keep going. Because stopping feels like failing, like letting people down, like proving that you were never really worth loving in the first place. And that's the dark side of kindness. It's not always about generosity. Sometimes it's about fear. fear of rejection, fear of being forgotten, fear that if you're not constantly giving, you won't matter. And the cruelest part? That fear is often right. Because the people who only value you for what you do will leave when you stop doing it. But here's the truth. Those aren't your people. They never were. Your people are the ones who see you struggling and ask if you are okay, who notice when you've gone quiet, who check in without needing a reason, who don't just take, they give back, not because you asked, but because they care. And if you don't have people like that in your life right now, that's not your fault. It means you've been surrounded by takers, and it's time to stop letting them take. Because here's what no one tells you about kindness. It's only a virtue when it's voluntary. When you give freely, without resentment, without expectation, without sacrificing your own well-being, that's beautiful. But when kindness is coerced, expected, demanded, that's not kindness anymore. That's servitude. And you don't owe anyone that. You don't owe people your energy when you have none left. You don't owe them your time when they've never valued it. You don't owe them a smile when you're crying inside. You are allowed to say no. You are allowed to put yourself first. You are allowed to protect your peace, even if it disappoints people, even if they walk away. Because the truth is, setting boundaries doesn't make you mean. It makes you sane. It's not selfish to take care of yourself. It's survival. But I know it doesn't feel that way. I know it feels like you're abandoning people, like you're doing something wrong, like you're breaking some unspoken rule that says kind people don't get to have limits. But that rule is a lie that keeps you small, exhausted, and invisible. And breaking free from it is terrifying. Because when you start saying no, people react. They guilt you. They gaslight you. They tell you you've changed. And they're right. You have changed. You've stopped letting them drain you. And to them, that feels like betrayal. But here's what they won't tell you. You were never supposed to carry everyone else's weight. You were never supposed to fix everyone's problems. You were never supposed to set yourself on fire to keep others warm. And the fact that you did, that doesn't make you noble. That makes you tired, burnt out, resentful, lost. And if you're feeling that way right now, I need you to hear this. It's not too late to choose yourself. It's not too late to stop performing. It's not too late to say, I can't do this anymore. Because continuing to give when you have nothing left doesn't make you strong. It makes you a martyr. And martyrs don't live long, happy lives. They just suffer quietly and call it virtue. And you deserve more than that. You deserve relationships where kindness flows both ways, where your needs matter just as much as everyone else's, where you're valued for who you are, not just what you do. But to get there, you have to do something uncomfortable. You have to disappoint people. You have to let them down. You have to stop being their safety net and start being your own. And yes, some people will leave, the ones who only wanted you for what you could give, the ones who never saw you as a whole person, just a resource. Let them go. They were never yours to begin with. Because the ones who stay, the ones who see you struggling and offer support instead of more requests, those are your people. And you'll finally have the energy to show up for them, not out of obligation, but out of genuine love. And that's the difference. Real kindness comes from overflow, not depletion. It's what you give when your cup is full, not when you're scraping the bottom. So if you've been running on empty, just stop. Just stop. Rest. Breathe. Rebuild yourself before you try to help anyone else, because you can't pour from an empty cup, and pretending you can is what's killing you. Now, I know what some of you are thinking, but what if people think I'm selfish? And here's the hard truth. They will. Some people will think you're selfish when you start prioritizing yourself, because they benefited from your self-neglect, and they don't want that to end. But their comfort is not your responsibility. Your well-being is. And protecting yourself making you the villain in someone else's story? So be it. You'd rather be the villain in their story than a ghost in your own. Because here's what really happens when you keep sacrificing yourself. You don't just lose yourself, you lose the ability to feel joy, to feel peace, to feel anything other than exhaustion and resentment. And that resentment, it poisons everything. It makes you bitter, cynical, angry at the people you once loved. Not because they're bad people, but because you gave them everything and got nothing back. And that's not their fault. It's yours. Because you never told them what you needed.
You never asked for help. You just kept giving and hoping they'd notice, but they didn't, because people can't read your mind. So part of healing from this is learning to communicate, to say, I need help, to say, I can't do this right now, to say, I'm not okay, and I need you to show up for me the way I've shown up for you. And if they can't do that, if they get defensive or dismissive or disappear, then you have your answer. They were never there for you. They were there for what you could do for them. And that hurts. God, it hurts. But it's also clarifying, because now you know. Now you can stop wasting your energy on people who will never reciprocate, and you can start investing in people who do. People who see your kindness as a gift, not a given. People who appreciate you, not exploit you. People who love you for who you are, not just what you provide. And when you find those people, kindness stops being a burden. It becomes what it was always meant to be, a joy, a connection, a mutual exchange of care. But until then, protect yourself. Guard your energy like it's sacred, because it is. Say no more than you say yes. Disappoint people if you have to. Choose yourself, even when it feels selfish. Because the alternative is losing yourself completely, and no one, no relationship, no friendship, no job is worth that. So if you've been kind to the point of self-destruction, hear this. You are not a bad person for being tired. You are not selfish for wanting rest. You are not wrong for needing boundaries. You are human, and humans are not infinite wells of giving. We need to receive too. We need to rest too. We need to matter too. And if the people in your life can't accept that, then they don't deserve your kindness. They deserve your absence. Because kindness without boundaries isn't kindness, it's self-abandonment. And you've abandoned yourself long enough. It's time to come home, to yourself, to your needs, to your peace. And yes, it will be uncomfortable. Yes, people will be upset. Yes, you'll feel guilty at first. But on the other side of that discomfort is freedom. The freedom to live without resentment. The freedom to give without depletion. The freedom to be kind without losing yourself. And that's worth every difficult conversation, every boundary you set, every person you disappoint. Because in the end, the only person you truly can't live without is yourself. And if you keep sacrificing yourself for others, there won't be anything left. So choose you before it's too late, before the bitterness becomes permanent, before you forget what it feels like to be whole. Choose you, not because you're selfish, but because you matter. And it's time you started acting like it.